Lawrence Ma, barrister and chairman of Hong Kong Legal Exchange Foundation. Mr. Ma, welcome to the program. The protests, especially the ones on Sunday in Victoria Park, have had a telling impact on traffic and daily life in Hong Kong. Now, as a resident, have you personally been affected?
Yes, of course. There are many people who was wanting to travel from the east side to the west side of the Hong Kong island were severely affected. They actually swarmed the road, and unfortunately it was a Sunday. Otherwise, the people's work and going to school will be severely interrupted. They actually marched onto the street. It was actually an unlawful assembly.
Earlier, your foundation, Mr. Ma, called for a UN probe into foreign interference in Hong Kong, citing photo evidence of U.S. interference. And now U.S. President Donald Trump is somehow linking the unrest with a trade deal, and Canada and the EU have released a so-called joint statement on Hong Kong. Help us understand the logic behind such meddling.
Well, I think they have, as according to the UN Charter, one country cannot interfere into another country's internal affairs. This is pretty blunt and blatant interference of our own internal affairs. Also, under the UN Resolution 2625, all the countries have signed up to that resolution to respect the individual and mutual sovereignty of each other countries. What we are paying attention to is there are two things. First, the Americans have sent a U.S. carrier, and the Japanese has sent its largest battleship into the South China Sea about 10 to 12 days ago. They went there in the name of protecting, avoiding conflicts in the South China Sea. But in fact, South China Sea would be the closest by proximity between America and Hong Kong. So if there is any armed conflict that happened in Hong Kong, the Americans would be able to, including the Japanese, would be able to send troops or even fly their fighter planes into Hong Kong to support what they call democratic movements. Secondly, we are saying that, or suspecting that the American is fighting a proxy war using Hong Kong as a base against mainland China. So that is the two things that is presents a threat to international security and peace, which on that basis we invite the United Nations Security Council to intervene.
All right, Lawrence Ma, barrister and chairman of Hong Kong Legal Exchange Foundation, live for us in Hong Kong. Thank you, sir.